Hey there folks, and welcome back to the Taulantia Campaign. Last time we launched into a somewhat sprawling and out of control at this point war against Oxwyoia, Armistia, and Dalmatia, with Ditionia allying Oxwyoia once the war started and joining in a little later on. Now, we are in a fairly interesting position here. We have their entire army moving from Pekina into Luisinian, and my army is behind them in Haydam, ready to move into Pekina at a moment's notice. This would be about a half a month move, whereas their move into Luisinian at the moment is about the same amount of time, perhaps a little bit more. Now, I don't know the exact amount of time it takes to move between Pekina and Luisinian, which is critical, because this entire strategy, as I described briefly at the end of last episode, would be for me to chase them into Luisinian and catch them, and this is the key part, in Luisinian, where I'd get a phenomenal defensive fight in the mountain terrain with the mountain pass helping me out, and I could even very cheekily, this is something else I thought about, summon the garrison for a sally attack against their quote-unquote siegers, assuming that they are actually sieging at the moment I arrive. If they're moving away from Luisinian, such as back towards Pekina, I probably couldn't do this. This would add 500 guys, and I'd only do this if the fight was otherwise looking very winnable, because if I actually use the garrison like this, I'd be sacrificing it, and it would make Luisinian vulnerable to a one siege tick occupation, which would be a disaster. But if that's happening already, then that means I would have lost the fight, and I'd be in huge trouble otherwise. Now, something I did notice between episodes, because I was looking at the peace deal situation, because this is a fight which I think there is a way for me to win, as I've just described, hitting them in Luisinian. I'm not confident I can pull that off. I don't know how much time it takes them to move from Pekina to Luisinian, and if I'd have time to get to Pekina and then get to Luisinian before they doubled back to Pekina to fight me there. Presuming, of course, they would actually double back to fight me there. I think the AI would identify that that'd be a good movement to make. So I can actually get a white piece right this second if I want to. I don't have to click this button right now. I can also click it as I'm in motion from Pekina to Luisinian if it looks like I'm not going to reach it in time. And this is very, very critical. I can also take, just barely, the two pieces of decision land from Dalmatia, Tregorian and Salinae, that I technically need to make this war profitable. Now, I'd be missing out on Bruchaeum, which is also decision land. I can't reach it without actually getting a chain of territories up to Bruchaeum, but of course, I can always come back and get Bruchaeum in any number of future ways before hitting the decision button. Of course, I need Bruchaeum to hit the decision button. So, I can actually sneak my way into victory, grasping it from the jaws of defeat here, if it looks as though, and this is the peace deal I would take, this is basically a maxed out peace deal. I probably can't get any other territories. It's just not gonna be doable. I guess if I find a very, very cheap location, yeah, it's not looking like it. Yeah, nothing that this would connect with would be workable. This would be totally fine, though, of course. And as I said in the first episode, I might have to take peace deals that look like this one in order to make my rush early game strategy happen. This has already been a war beyond the scope of what I would comfortably go for on purpose, so this would be a way for me to salvage a very min-maxy outcome from this very out-of-control sort of spiraling into chaos type war situation. So this is the peace deal on the table. Oh, hello. On the table for me. Let's not spin the camera around wildly here, you goofus. So we'll click that button if it looks as though I cannot hit them in Luisinian. Now, I don't even really like taking this fight. This is about an even fight, and the only thing helping me is good terrain. This is not a fight I would normally want to take, to make that super clear. This is essentially a desperation situation. So if I'm not going to pull off a green victory, even a contested yellow victory, I'm not super confident about. They do, of course, have a level 10 martial guy who will lead their forces there. So, by the way, the way that combined enemy armies are organized, I actually didn't realize this until recently, is by the strength of their marshal, of their leader. So it always puts the highest martial character up top, which is great. You can see that we have a 9 martial character with our great governor of Macedonia, but that's not going to beat their 10, and who knows how the rolls will go. If it's going to be an even fight, I'll probably just take the peace deal. If it looks like a green fight, or if I'm feeling very lucky, I will go for the continuation of the war. And the reason I'm being so kind of careful about this, the reason I'm being so cautious about this, is that, frankly, if I lose this fight, even by not that much, assuming we both take big casualties, they will no longer accept this peace deal, and they probably won't even accept white peace. And once I lose my forces, once I begin to fall into the manpower starvation situation, which I've been so careful to avoid, I'm not confident I can outpace the manpower production of 4 enemies, right? Because we're talking about Armistia, Oxwyoia, Dalmatia, and Dityonia, all of their manpower pools versus my manpower pool. And yes, I am a populous nation with a lot of integrated pops in my borders, but Dardania's already had their forces absolutely smacked around. There are some Dardanian relief forces on the way up. Maybe they can re-siege Grabion for me. But if I lose this fight, or if I'm not confident I will win this fight, I really need to consider taking that peace deal and just getting out of the situation before it gets too far out of my control. So with all that being said, let's actually take the plunge here and move into Pekina and then see what they do. Now, I'm going to hold off until they're locked because I don't want to scare them into stopping their movement into Lusignan, which I'm nervous they would do if they were allowed to and I was moving. So I'm going to go here. I'm actually going to go down to speed 1 for this very precise maneuvering. We're going to start sieging, so 8th of February. Actually, I can probably do speed 2. I trust my reflexes here. So let's see here. The moment, the very day they get locked, I will move. Sue for peace from Oxwyoia. No, I'm not going to do it. That's not going to be the deal that I want. There we go. Okay, in we go. So we're going to get here the 8th of February. Actually, no, hold on. We need to wait one more day, because this is technically... We'd be getting there the day that they'd be leaving, and I don't remember who breaks that tie. So, wait one day. All right, so 9th of February, and they arrive there the 8th of February, and then we chase them as fast as our little Illyrian legs can go. I don't know if Illyrians have short legs, making some assumptions here. We're going to speed our way into Lusignan and hope, cross our fingers and our toes, that we're going to get there before they can return to Pekina, and then we'll see what happens from there. All right, this will be very close. Once on the 8th of February, oh, also, we're going to have stuff happen in the background as well. Crisis in Macedon. The recent death of the Macedonian ruler. Oh, okay. There is, okay, we'll take a look at that in a moment. Has caused a great deal of political disturbance in the country. Eager to take advantage of this situation, numerous lackeys, pretenders, and legitimate claimants to the throne have risen up to bear arms against the newly crowned Basilius Philippos IV Antipatrid. As the nation of Macedon is of interest to us, it might be that we can exert certain influences over the more rowdy pretenders in the hopes of plunging their nation to further turmoil. Okay, so this is something in my test games I was never able to figure out. Let me know in the comments if you understand how these character interaction mechanics actually work. I think this is another Heirs of Alexander mechanic that I just don't really understand that well, but I guess that's something we are allowed to do. Oh boy! Wow, turmoil in Macedon indeed. Oh, this is extremely cursed. Why is it like this in this game? Oh my god. Okay, this is extremely, extremely uncomfortable. So Antigonids have arrived on the scene. I think when their guy dies, Antigonos, when he dies, things will get complicated, but yeah, Macedon has been absolutely smacked across the face with a capital S. They're now stuck over here in their little mountain pass area. That is very, very wild. Okay, so this is very strange. Macedon is suddenly now a local power. Oh no. I think I actually have more territories than Macedon does. Oh no. What about population? Okay, they have a populous nation even still. But we now no longer need to be so scared of Macedon. And now I'm very glad I didn't take that claim earlier, because now I'd be claiming Antigonid land, which would now be a huge problem. So that is cursed. We'll keep an eye on what happens there, but yeah, this is the Heirs of Alexander DLC at work. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on this now. Let's see, 8th of February, what will they do? Will they double back or not? We are now locked in ourselves, so that is going to be important for us to keep an eye on. All right, 6th of February, 7th. 8th of February, under siege. Looks like they're going to stay. They haven't started moving yet. Let's see here. The other thing is, this is my chance now to use the Sally, but I'm not confident I need to until I'm already en route, because I don't want to exhaust the garrison of the fort if I don't need to, and I think I'll win this fight if I just hit them here myself. So 9th of February, here we come. All right, 14th of March is the arrival date. That's a long time. And let's see if they start to go back towards us. Also, my war score did go down. What's the issue here? Not sure, but we are still able to take this peace deal, so that's very good. Whew, okay. 10th of February. Okay. It's not looking good. The game does not think we're going to win. Why is this? The train is to their benefit. That is not true. It's a defensive fight for me, right? Give it one more day to recalibrate. Okay, the game does not think that the train is to our benefit. This is a fortified location. We would be the defenders here, right? That is my understanding. Maybe the mountain pass benefits them. They may technically have advantages from having... because I think I have more cavalry than they do, and that may not be great in the mountain pass. Okay, so with this fight not actually being advisable... Okay, so I guess I may have just misunderstood how helpful the mountain pass would actually be for me. What we're going to do is start sieging Pekina, and if they start moving, we can still take the peace deal. But at this point, I'm fine doing a siege race. In fact, I may even go for a... an assault if I think that would be called for, especially with Dardania coming to resiege Grabayan. So it looks like the war will continue. I won't be taking this fight in the mountains after all. I'm really surprised that this wouldn't be a good fight. Not even a yellow fight, it would be an orange fight. Okay. We'll start sieging them. They may double back on us now. We'll keep a close eye on that. In a straight-up siege race, I think we'd still be okay because we would probably finish sieging before they could even reach us back in Pekina. Okay. Some of them are now coming back towards us. Let's see if the rest of them do this. Sometimes the AI will send one force ahead of the others. Okay, they are now going to come back. Okay, this is very strange. Apparently, we have the advantage in their fortified mountain. This is like opposite day. What's going on over here? Okay, clearly I did not evaluate the strategic situation properly. So we apparently... I think it's actually genuinely the mountain pass. I think our army is, for some reason, not well-suited to fighting in a mountain pass. Maybe because the cavalry in our army, because I think we do have more cavalry than they do. It's about the same, actually. I think we have a little bit more. Maybe, technically, we actually do have the better outcome. Wait, where's their 10 marshal guy? No, he's coming. Okay, now it's saying this. So it's still not good, but it is only orange. I'm not sure about this fight, because it says the train is to our... I'm the attacker in the mountains. What are you talking about? Genuinely don't believe this. Sadly, the Dardanian relief forces probably won't arrive in time to make any difference. They're also going the wrong way because they couldn't get through Rossettia. I'm very tempted to take this fight because this does look like we could win. But we'd also suffer huge manpower losses even from a victory here, from a yellow fight. And then we'd have to also siege this down, and they do have other forces that could come harass us. So I think at this point, I'm going to grit my teeth and take the peace deal, get our decision land, and get out of this situation, because I just don't want to lose all my manpower. It's as simple as that. I can come back and clean out these tribes and get all this land for myself anytime I want to, once I have the claims on the region, which of course the decision grants me, which is why I'm focusing so much on the decision land. Getting Trigorian and Salinai is ultimately kind of the goal of fighting any war that involves fighting Dalmatia. And even though we'll be missing out on Brockham, I can just come back for it later. Not a huge deal. And honestly, getting land that's further up the coast will also mean I can raise my army in these locations. I can probably get a military access treaty with Dalmatia without too much trouble, because the AI is pretty open-minded about that kind of thing. So let's just double check that this is the right land I need. Let's see here. Trigurian and Salinai, that looks to be the right locations. All right. Let's take the peace deal. This is the kind of situation where if I wasn't in a rush in the early game to form Illyria, I might take a riskier fight like this, but I can't afford a manpower obliterating even victory, let alone defeat. If I lost the fight here, because the thing too is if I lose the fight, I can't take this peace deal, or probably any peace deal, with these enemies in this war. So let's go ahead and just avoid, let's win the war through avoiding fighting the war. So let's go ahead and go for it. Trigorian to Taulantia and Salinai to Taulantia. All right. My king, the Illyrian local power of Oxwayoi, accepted our generous peace offer. Okay. Let's let one day pass. All right, then we can go ahead and lower our forces here. I think we'll disband everybody. Yeah. Disband all levies. Our claim on Pieria is a ways away, so we actually will have a little bit of time to recover our war exhaustion and boost up our manpower reserves. So we're going to get that peace that I've been hoping to get for a while now. So disband all levies. Good stuff. All right, so it ended up not being really a conquest of Oxwyoia. Ended up weirdly being a conquest over here of Dalmatian land, but Salonai and Trigurian are great to get. Looks like our province of Dalmatia will have its capital be in Trigurian. That's fine with me. Trigurian's going to probably be the long-term provincial capital. It is farmland on the coast, which I do love. And it also nicely lines up with Nerona. I think I will actually replace the... Even though I want there to be a port here when there's a city, I might actually build a fort here instead, because this is a current unfortified provincial capital. You know how I feel about that. So that is fine. Okay, so with that being done, let's go ahead and just progress along on speed 2. And in the meantime, take a look and see how things are going in our nation now that the war is over. Looks like, despite me forgetting about the Omen, provincial loyalty is fine, except for an Epirus, but that will probably get sorted out once the war exhaustion goes down. I'm not going to change that. Civ, I need 10 political influence to also change any of these anyways. I can probably change Dalmatia to be cultural assimilation fairly soon. Yeah, that's going to probably be fine. And aside from that, let's take a look and see, population-wise, in Epidamnos, works just came back. How's my conversion coming along? All right, so looking to be on schedule, looking pretty good. I will say, speaking of conversion, that in the long term, I do intend to make Nerona my, I'll pause to talk about this because this is a little bit more complicated. I do plan to make Nerona my national capital in the long term, and there's a couple of reasons for that. For one, it's a bit more centrally located in Illyria compared to Epidamnos. It's also, like Epidamnos, a farmland on the coast. But one thing I like about it is that it has some protection through Corcyra, Melina, and Pharos. It's a little bit protected from naval land. I guess people could navally land from this direction. So, but it sort of feels nice to be in the place that it is. It's also in the Darusia province, which I think is... Well, I guess all these provinces are all kind of similarly wealthy, so it's not really... that part's not going to be a huge deal. But really, it's about the location in the region that I'm kind of looking at it. I guess I should say Nerona is the firm, 100% for sure capital location. But I don't want Epidamnos to be my capital forever, and I'd want to change the capital before I click the Form Illyria button, unless, I guess it's not a huge deal if I give Cradle of, what's it called? Center of Civilization to a different city. Epidamnos will be a major city for this game, whether or not it's my national capital. It's also probably going to stay the provincial capital of Livria Graeca in the long term, even once I get Apollonia. Because Apollonia has actually been sacked by Epirus, so it's not... What is that? Hold on. What is that icon? Okay, I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's a... whatever. Apollonia has been sacked by Epirus, and so it's actually kind of depopulated and low quality right now. Epidamnos is actually a much better shape than Apollonia. I do want Apollonia, of course, in the long term to add to my nation. Speaking of which... so you're allied with Epirus at the moment. So that's inopportune. And you're also in the defensive league with Corcyra. Seems like you guys have all made up pretty quick. Now, I'm not as scared of Epirus as I used to be because Pyros isn't in charge. I'm actually not sure if Pyros will return or what's going on with that. That being said, I don't really feel ready to fight Epirus at the moment. Apollonia and Corcyra, probably yes, especially with my navy finishing up. I can blockade Corcyra and keep the Corcyran army in Corcyra. Could actually maybe trick the Epirot army or the Apollonian army into Corcyra somehow and trap them there. The AI is really bad at avoiding naval blockade shenanigans if you're crafty with that, but the best I could probably reliably do is trap Corcyra in Corcyra. So I'm not going to worry about that. I do still, of course, have my claim on Epirus. This lets me fight Apollonia through my Epirot claim, so I don't need to get a claim on Apollonia. So that's handy. I'll still hold off on that. That's not going to advance my Forum Illyria goals, so there's no reason to rush on that specifically. I'm also going to, well, maybe I should build a fort in Grabion after all. It did end up mattering in this war. I think I will I think I will build a fort here just because now I'm realizing that I'm not going to have Oxbyoea and Armistia annexed for a little while now. May as well. I can always decommission the fort in the future. It's just going to help in the short term. My next war will be against Pieria, assuming that they are still alive. We'll see if I end up fighting Epidwarum, who's going to be in charge of Pieria if they win their war. But they keep going back and forth on this. I just need to make sure I get into Delenton before Epidwarum arrives so that I'm in charge of the siege, assuming that happens. I actually wouldn't mind fighting Epidwarum as well, because that's land that I'd like to get. But Pieria, I should note, doesn't have any decision land, but it does have Dorona, who I want to start developing sometime fairly soon. Dorona would also make for... Yeah, Dorona is the best location for the provincial capital of Darcia, if it does come to that. So, we'll see about that. Max of 2k manpower by default. Now, that's pretty good. That just means my integrated pops are holding out pretty well. This is... I shouldn't look over there. I could actually, I guess, fight Makedon if I was feeling really brave, but they still have a large number of pops, integrated pops in their nation. 76 integrated pops versus my 44. So their levy would still outnumber my levy by quite a bit. Not going to mess around with that. No reason to. Now, I guess I should ask, is there a reason to form a colony in Trigorian, which would be the location I do that in? Who lives over here? I think these are all Dalmatians living over here. Yeah. And there is also Dalmatians living in Nerona. Now, one trick I might do, actually, with the Pierian War is form a Dalmatian colony in Nerona, assuming that it picks Nerona, which I hope it will, because this would move a bunch of Akeni into Nerona, which would actually sort of clear the way to turning Nerona into a full capital, because I'd have to have the dominant culture be Taulantian, which is easy to do with a colony. At least I think you're allowed to do that with colonies. I don't recall if that's some mechanic about colonies that I am misremembering, which is certainly possible. There's no risk of civil war. All that's looking fine. I could start doing some infrastructure as well, but I want to hold off and save my money. I need to save my money basically just for forts and to advance my early game strategy as necessary. A question of competence. After weeks of nervous looks and smirks at court, the whispers circling the palace have finally reached the ears of the king. It seems that someone has been spreading rumors and spinning yarns of his unequaled profligacy and unfitness for the throne. The damage has been done. Now all look on how the king will deal with the situation. Okay, so let's see what happens. He may lose a negative trait, or he may... he has redeemable character, allegedly. Not sure what that means, but maybe because he's a benefactor? Not sure. Or he'll lose popularity. Let's see what happens. Probably the popularity. Yep, as expected. He just lost popularity. That's fine. He didn't get much popularity from that peace deal because it was such a small peace deal, but I think I made the right call because I'd rather have this much manpower and be ready for the next war that I have queued up than to risk a fight that I could lose and then be stuck in the war for another episode, have my manpower reserves ravaged, and maybe my land ravaged because I could finish sieging Lusitanian and get down to Ascribian and get beyond that. So I think I'm making the right call playing it safely like that. Even though I am rushing in this early game, I'm only rushing on the strategic level. On the tactical level, I'm still playing very carefully. It's just strategically and sort of on the grand strategy sense, I am going real quick in terms of misadventure pacing. So that's that. All right. I also need to think about my next claim target because I don't have any more claims. I mean, aside from all the Greek claims. Let me actually look here. No, that's not what I'm looking for. There's a map mode I want to find. Is there... Maybe there's not one in this game. Okay, yeah, there's not one. There's not a claim map mode. But I think I only have a claim on Pieria at the moment, in terms of Illyrian claims. Certainly looks like it. Yeah. So my next Illyrian claim might actually end up being Dalmatia. I have to think about this, because in terms of land I want to get, I guess Dalmatia no longer has land that I need. Let me look at my decision land again. Honestly, fighting Oxbyoea again might be called for, but the issue is I don't want to fight that same thing. They've actually dropped their alliance that they had with Ditionia. Maybe they got that as like an emergency wartime thing, because they've dropped that. So if I fight them again, and now that I have land over here, especially if the fort's done, I might be able to pull something off, especially with my navy being able to move my army into... I guess I could actually summon my army over here and then move the rest over. If I attack these guys from the side of my holdings in Dalmatia, I might be able to pull it off. The thing is, I do want to get Brucheium next, because that's the natural next target, but I can also go along the coast and ignore that coalition of enemies. They're also likely to be a bit more war-torn, and they may not have their full levy restored. I guess I didn't do a big fight with them, so they had their whole levy. They lowered it at the end of that last war. Armistia and Dalmatia again. Armistia would also allow Dardania to come in again and help out the way that they have. Actually, it might make sense to do it like that, because if I do the war again, but this time I actually start the invasion from the side of Salinae and Trigurian, and I just go straight for Delminian up front, especially with the fort in Trigurian. In fact, I should have fortified Salinae if I was planning this. Oh, well, I won't do that now, because that'd be it. I don't have enough money to do it now. If I do it like that, if I invade Dalmatia from this side, and I guess I should ask, should I claim... Actually, hold on. Do I have a claim on Oxwayoia already? I do, don't I? Hold on. Casus Bellion. I do. I already have the claim, yeah, because the claim doesn't go away. But I also have a truce with them. How long do I have this with? 460... 460, so late 460, after 26 days after I click the friggin' omen button is when that happens. Okay, so that actually lines up pretty well with when my war against Pieria might be winding down. So I think what I'll do is I'll actually plan to go to war with Oxwayoia, Dalmatia, and Armistia again. Now, my claim is on Oxwayoia, which means Oxwayoia's diplomatic situation will determine the way I start this war. So this will be a sort of a round 2, except this time I'll have a front over in Dalmatia's southwestern side, and I'll be able to go for Delminian immediately. In fact, I might actually split my army and have a section over here. No, actually, hold on. This thing will be done by then. So I can actually just have everybody over here, because they have to go through Lusignan, through Grabion, or into Dardania, and that's where they're going to probably go. So if they all go into Dardania, and then they're over here, while I'm over working on Delminian, I think I'll be better positioned, because the issue last war was I had to move through this really rough mountainous terrain around Bikina and Soastum in order to get into this area. But this time I have a front open that I can come in through. So I think that's what I'll do. Sorry for the very long pause in discussion. I've tried to avoid doing that this series, but I think this sort of follow-up war idea with the Oxwayoian League is going to be a bit more successful. Plus, I think I might actually... If I have the money, I might hire mercenaries, but I don't think I'll have the money ready by that point. Anyways, we'll see what happens in a couple episodes. Probably next episode's when that is going to start off. Maybe this episode, we'll see. The statue of Glaucius, the first Taulantian. The people of Epidamnos have raised a large statue of our esteemed ruler, Glaucius. Though the statue is lacking in certain important areas, it would not be taken well if we were to rip it down. What important areas of Glaucius is the statue lacking in, dare I ask? If we leave the statue up, let us hope it does not get too well known, as it could be somewhat of an insult to the monarch. Oh boy. It's showing him with no hair at all, and we all know Glaucius is hanging on for dear life with a little bit of a side thing, so that's some real insulting stuff. Some some sculptor is about to get flayed for his transgressions. Lose popularity, which isn't great because he's already at 52, so this is actually beginning to become an issue for Glaucius. Or upset the people of Epidamnos. Epidamnos is filled with Greeks who are already pretty upset, so I actually don't think this is a pretty hard choice. Because extra happiness in Epidamnos for all these Epirotes, or all these Italiotians, won't really make a huge difference. And I'd rather not have the popularity dip. So let's rip down the fully bald-headed statue. Nothing like Glaucius. He's not bald yet. He still has a bit left. He swears. All right. Looks fine. Let's actually get our... I should have done this already. Let's get our army going for the Pierian War. Let's go ahead and summon them as we need to. I'm probably behind on this now. Whoops. Summon the forces there. Summon the forces here. And summon the rest of them up here. Alright, so you head on over. I'm going to actually move the force over with the Navy. So let's have you come on over here. I'm not going to use the Navy in this war, but I will use it just to transport forces over to Ryzon to get them in position. Alright. Envelopment mode. I don't know if this matters when it's the only forces you have, but I do it anyways. I also probably don't need to always go for the thing with 100% efficiency, but that's like a level of military tactics that I don't know offhand. If military access from Antigonids, it might not be a bad idea to have some sort of treaty with them. I don't border them currently, but I might soon, assuming they annex more of Macedon. I guess sure, because military access with them is not very binding, and will just give them some relationship with me, so... Alright, I will grant them military access. Let's hope they will squander their troops on pointless wars. Yeah, please. That would be quite handy. Epirus and Dendaria have some bad food, but that is just because the army was standing there at that moment. So they're actually totally fine. Let's get this going again. I should note as well that my military does have my military tradition. Let's see if I can find where it says this. No, not tradition. My cultural levy style. I don't know if it says this anywhere. It does have heavy infantry as part of the cultural levy style. It's light infantry, light cavalry, and a small amount of heavy infantry. We'll see as we get our larger levy how it looks. All right, let's get these guys on the boats and bring them over. This is we're not using the boats for this war. We're not going to turn our fleet maintenance on, just to move them over. Okay. Issan civil war ends. The bitter civil war in Issa has finally come to an end, with the loyal forces of Hippostratos Tariskid utterly crushing the rebel armies led by Phylon Lycurgid and his scheming cohorts. We are reliably informed that the turning point of the war was during the siege of Corcyra Melina, when the rebel forces attempted to rout the loyalist army, but were outmaneuvered by the superb tactics of Hippostratos Tariskid. Okay. The outcome of this war is largely irrelevant to us, as we do not consider Issa as either a friend or an enemy. Nevertheless, we ought to be careful now that their nation is on track to recovery. So Issa is this island chain that's ruled over by a Greek city-state. This is in Illyria, but none of this is decision land, so I've not really paid much attention to them, so I'll leave that alone. All right, up we go. I'll bring my ships back over to port once we deposit our guys over here. I guess I could also land my guys in Nerona. That might be actually a more interesting way to use these forces. I think I have time to get that set up. Now, Pieria, they have no allies. Now, what I'm thinking here is if I deposit a force... Actually, no, they do have a force actually standing in Nerona. I should probably think about that. If I land with a 4K force... That would probably still beat a 1K defense, but it would be costly for no reason. So I think what I'll do is continue my original plan of going into Delenton at a moment where Epidaurus isn't in Delenton, because of course I have to compete with them for the siege. Should be fine. Okay, let's resume. So since I have my claim on Oxwayoya already ready to go, I can actually do my next claim on some other target. I have to decide who that would be. Next month I'll decide. My political influence is restored. Bring y'all back. Good stuff. Okay, they are leaving right now. That's pretty handy. Maybe I'll get the chance on this monthly tick to sneak in while they're gone. I need to be careful because if I arrive while they are there, I might actually support their siege, which would be not what I'd want. Also, this 13k gave me a little heart attack, but it's just Epidaurus standing next to those mercenaries. We are all good here, fortunately. Alright, everybody hang out there. Good stuff. Yeah, this fortress will be done in time, and this one will be as well for the war against Oxwayoya in 2 years. Okay, they're coming back the 17th of May. I'll probably have to wait a monthly tick before I declare the war. I'll declare the war while they are locked into moving away, so I can get there before they do. And then I should be in charge of the siege once that does happen. Looks like Issa is fighting Liburnia. That's pretty fun. Well, also, let's not make this waste. Political influence. Okay, so since I have the Oxwayoian plan figured out, and that involves Armistia. Looks like they've also done the League now with Armistia. They're also still allies with them, so that's fine. It's the same targets. They may also re-ally Ditionia for the second war. But I don't know if that'll happen or not, so I'm not gonna make any plans based on that assumption. In terms of decision land, I think Liburnia is probably the next best target to go for. Although, actually, if they do ally Ditionia, that would be handy, because Ditionia has land. I want Balawai. And they're also the gateway into Clondate and Segestica, which means probably going to focus on Liburnia next, or on Iapodia. Let me look at Liburnia's diplomatic situation here. So they're actually diplomatically isolated. They're fighting Issa, who we just saw on the islands down here. We're actually pretty close to Liburnia. We have land right next to them, and we can get a military access treaty, or just travel by boat over here. Liburnia should be no big deal at all, because they don't have any friends. It looks like they have a lot of truces, so I think they've actually alienated all of their neighbors. They also have a truce with the Isan Revolt, weirdly. Okay, so assuming Issa doesn't actually conquer them first, again, the claim is on the land, so if Issa takes over this land, it's not a huge deal. Alternatively, Iapodia, they are allied with Istria, so that automatically makes them less attractive as a target, because I don't really want to fight Istria too. Istria doesn't have any land that I need, so I'm just going to leave them alone. And they are in the Illyria section, right? Yeah, technically part of Illyria, so we'll get to them later once we have the claims on them from being Illyria. So Liburnia is going to be our target here. Let's go ahead and get a claim going on them. I don't think I need a political influence. I don't think I need a political influence for anything else at the moment. Fabricate on Liburnia, that's fine. We're going to be going, I believe it's Adassa is the specific location. Yeah, Adassa. Okay, that looks fine. And then we'll work on Iapodia later. We don't need to go for them first, basically. Okay, looks good. Now let's go ahead and watch and see when these guys start leaving. We'll get to work on fighting. There they go. So the moment that they're locked in, because I don't want them to stop to... I don't know what they're doing, by the way. This is one of those weird AI things. They're going back and forth. Maybe because they're scared of running out of guys to do the siege. And, what am I saying? They're scared of running out of guys on the siege and then they not be able to progress it, but I don't know what they're doing. It's just bizarre AI behavior. It's one of those things that just is beyond explanation, unfortunately. All right, any minute now. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and declare war on Pieria. Now, the way I believe this works is that we'll be neutral with Epidaurus. I don't think we become hostile to them because we're both fighting the same target independently. We'll see what happens. If I actually am hostile with them, I'm not very concerned about that because I'm not, even against both Pieria and Epidaurus at full strength, I'm not in trouble. I'm not declaring war on Epidaurus, so that shouldn't call in their, what would really scare me, which is Issa and Chersos, their defensive league partners. Basically, Epidaurus and these two guys are the various Italiotian city-states along the coastline, so I'm not going to be fighting them from this action here. All right, declare war on Pieria. Take Darcia. I think I will not call in Dardania because I want Dardania to be in position around Dardania for my war after this one, which may happen basically right around the time this war's ending. So I don't want Dardania to be over here out of position. I need Dardania to funnel everybody into the Dardanian land as they've done in the past. So let's go ahead and go for it. Wait, we have military access? Ah, crap. Okay. Shoot, I completely forgot about this. Cancel military access. Do we have a truce with them now? I don't believe we do. Has this... Okay, I have to wait 1 month now, which is unfortunate. But I don't think we have to wait any longer than that. So that's a small micro mistake. We may have to wait another cycle of this guy entering and leaving Delenton, so we'll see what happens. It's kind of annoying, but that's fine. We're just delayed by a little bit, so no big deal. 11th of July, we will... damn it, there he goes. Okay, so we'll have to wait for this guy to leave Delenton again. That's irritating, but not a huge problem. We can also see now declare war. Doesn't carry a penalty. I can't click this because it won't stop from happening now. So we'll wait for him to leave, and then we'll go on in. And yeah, we should be fine. We still have all this up. Good stuff. I could lower fort maintenance for this war. In fact, I could have lowered it earlier after the last war, technically. But I'm just nervous. Pieria could hire mercenaries. But then again, let's see. How much money is this? It's such a small amount of money. It's only 0.12. It's not worth lowering at that amount of difference. So I'm just going to leave it alone. All right, Epidaurus, get out of here. Make way for the true conquerors of Illyria. All right, there they go. Now, the moment that they're locked into moving back home, tribal proposition. Okay, what's this? Our tribal neighbor Oxwayoe has started investing a lot of their treasury into opening up the borders between our two nations. Yeah, our borders were open quite a bit earlier in a militaristic way. Hopefully this will prove beneficial for us as well, although their tribesmen are somewhat more unruly than we are used to. Should we keep Oxwayoe in mind, they could prove good friends in the future. Okay, so we get some money. They like me more. Luisinian gets some bonuses, so that's fine. Local pop happiness won't matter at all because there's so few people living there, but the money is quite nice, so thank you for that. That's actually a couple months worth of income that Oxwayoe just gave me for no reason. I'll take that with no problem at all. Here we go. All right, now we'll do this properly here. So let's not call in Dardania. Okay, declare war, yes. There we go. So we've declared war on the Illyrian local power of Pieria. Pieria have all rallied together. Pieria has no friends. In we go. So 31st of August, we should get there before Epidaurus changes their mind and returns to Delenton. And I should, fingers crossed, be in charge of the siege. Now, this game is very, very inconsistent about siege leaders compared to other Paradox games. I never know how it works. But if I get there while they're not there, I should definitely be in charge. And that is that. Also keep an eye and see if they call in if they make any allies or call in any allies. How do you feel about me? I could ally Epidaurus, actually. But then again, I don't want to ally them. I already have my ally, and I'm not going to be giving up my Dardanian ally anytime soon, especially given our second planned war against Oxwayoe and their friends. Fortress in Trigurian is done. That's pretty good. All right. Good stuff. In we go. 31st of August. This should be pretty straightforward. Fortress is under siege. They've got their forces down here in Nerona. I'm not that scared of them. And now that we're here, we should remain in charge of the siege the whole way through. Okay. The Hellenistic major power of Antigone Kingdom. My king, we are outraged to discover that the Hellenistic major power of Antigone Kingdom has canceled the generously given right to military access they have been given by us. They've canceled the access I gave them. What? How does that work? I have a message for you. I've decided to withdraw your offer to me. That's not going to hold up in court. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that, but Antigonids are just doing strange things, as usual. Yeesh. All right. That's fine. So we'll work on the siege now and see how this goes. I think my plan of fighting Oxwayoe again in the future is the right call. I'm really glad I didn't take that fight. I may reflect later and decide that I should have taken it, but I shouldn't take yellow fights like that if that much manpower is on the line, because that was my entire army right there. Same with all of them. And if they had wiped out my manpower and got enough war score from the fight to disallow even a white peace, I could have been stuck in that war in a losing situation and lost so much more time that I desperately need to progress my early game. So it is what it is. This is the kind of min-maxing that this campaign is going to feature, and I think I ultimately played it right. So, happy with that. Alright, so wartime economy is looking fine. The fortress in Grabion is done. I think I am making the right call by fortifying this, especially with the upcoming war. So this way they will be stuck going into Dardania or traveling slowly into fort sieges in Luisinian or Grabion. I think for the last war, it was fine that I didn't fortify it because of what I was planning, but for this war, this upcoming war, this is the proper plan to have it be fortified. Water shortage. Heck yeah. Good to see. All right, so no Pierian allies quite yet. That's handy. And again, Pieria doesn't own any decision land, but I want to get access to Nerona sooner or later. And this is Pieria is generally, my test game has been a pretty free target in between having other claims ready. And a nice, easy target after my very complicated and exhaustive war against Oxwayoe. This will actually be even a cooldown war, where I still recover manpower and don't have war exhaustion problems. The nice thing, too, about this delay is it also resets my timer on invoking Dewodio. It's actually, I think, already been reset now, down to just 50%. I can't even see because I don't have any war exhaustion at the moment, so we are in the clear. Yeah, it's still in effect, it looks like, so... Also, aggressive expansion is minimal, which is great. All right, food shortage, finally. Gonna progress on this. Let's see here. Oh my guys. Okay, looks like Pleritos has actually had a child. I was not notified about this 4 years ago, so please tell me about that, my son. Siros is balding too. Oh my gosh, look at this. He's got a kid as well, Sira. Taulus does not have any kids. He's already fully bald. I guess the men in this family just have a certain baldness situation going on. And then my daughters I didn't marry off yet. I should probably get around to that. Maybe 1st of October for 60 when I do my omen and a review of things, I will get around to marrying off my daughters, but I guess I just haven't really thought about it. Epirote Civil War. There was a civil war in Epirus? Okay. The bitter civil war in Epirus has finally come to an end. We've already read this event for previous civil wars. And in my Kenya campaign, there were so many civil war events because the game, for some reason, notifies you about any civil war that happens in the entire game. I guess you just need to keep track of this. So it looks like this was between Neoptolemus, who was the king, and the rebellion was led by Megacles Megaclid. Okay. Not Peros, weirdly, who you'd think would be fighting a civil war. Interesting. Looks like the Loyalists won the day, so that's good for them, I guess. Does this affect anything I care about? Not really. They're still in their alliance with Corcyra and Apollonia. That is fine. Let's progress along here. This has been a pretty eventful little episode of the Taulantia campaign, so glad to see that. How's my tech coming along? It's coming slowly. I don't have that many citizens or nobles yet, so it's going to take a while. Even though we are not tribal, we start with tribal levels of population class distribution with mostly tribesmen and freemen. So we have to build up a citizen base the way we did in the previous campaign as well. All right, 21%. Let's see it. Nope. 35%. Here we go. Fortunately, this is a completely costless war. Once we take Delented, we can just stand here for 1 month until Nerona. I guess we actually have to kill these guys to get Nerona to come under sway, but we shouldn't take almost any casualties in this war whatsoever. And once we do take Delenton, we should be in the clear. Still no allies. Good to see. All right, 42%. Here we go. Also, it looks like I've scared away the Epidorum armies. They're just not going to even come bother with me. They will have a claim on me once I take this land, because their claim is, again, land-based. But if they want to attack me, they can go for it. Good luck to them on that one, if they so desire. How's Dardania looking? We should remember that they also have the truce, but it also ends the same day our truce ends. So that shouldn't be a problem. Here we go. The Siege of Delenton is finished. Looks like Nabis gets the popularity boost. How's Glaucus's popularity looking? 50. I probably should do something to boost the popularity. I may build up political influence to a triumph, because that'd be kind of fun, but probably not very cost-effective, all things considered. Glaucus is also pretty old, so it's likely he may die before low popularity really becomes a problem. Let's give it 1 day. Are they going to move? No. We have to clear them out to get access to Nerona, because they probably won't surrender without Nerona being sieged. Yeah, not quite. I could wait 1 month and just see if they go for it, but this is probably a fight I'm comfortable taking. This is a 6-to-1 fight. They're defending in farmlands, so I'm not that scared of them, and I will completely flank them with all my cavalry. I have a lot of cavalry as an Illyrian type military, so that's handy. I think this is probably a fight I can take with basically no trouble at all. Am I crossing a river? Is that what that says? There's no way. I'm not crossing a river. Fake news. All right, we engage the enemy. Let's see here. Yeah, look at all those cav on the flanks. Okay, that's the kind of outcome I like to see. That's a 10-to-1 good outcome. I rolled pretty well too, although they rolled okay as well. All right, so I'm happy with that. We got a little bit of war exhaustion, but that's no big deal. Fully stack up them. Now we'll just siege this down with our army. May as well. No problem there. And yeah, that should be fine. Honestly, the Liburnian claim will be done before I could think about the Oxwyoan War. I could be super, super bold and go for the Liburnian War before I fight Oxwyoia again. Because Liburnia doesn't have any friends, my army is basically like, you know, it's already up, right? It's already here. I could just move them over, and then in a few months when the claim's done, just attack Liburnia immediately and go for a super quick war. Again, considering that the truce I have with Oxwyoia, once the truce is over, it's not like there's a rush to fight them again if I'm already engaged with something. And they're not going to attack me when the truce is over, because there's no way the AI would do that. Honestly, I think I might do that, because the Liburnian claim will finish in a few months. and I can keep the army up without too much trouble. I took very little war exhaustion in this war, so let's sue for peace. Let's reset. Make sure we do this right. Get this land. That's all there is to get here. So this was a super quick free war against a diplomatically isolated. You can see when it's just one enemy versus 4 enemies, just how different these wars are. So Pieria is ours. Let's grab that there. Okay. All right, the Pierine elites. We can decide what to do with them. We're going to go ahead and banish those of class, lose a bit of aggressive expansion. We have so little right now, this isn't going to be a huge problem, but I guess I could also get popularity for Glaucius, honestly. But that'll upset the Dalmatians, and I have a lot of Dalmatian subjects. I guess I'm going to have a lot of Dalmatian subjects. I don't have a lot at the moment. But that is 5 years of super unhappy Dalmatians, as opposed to just 5 years of kind of unhappy Dalmatians. I think I'll get the aggressive expansion. This feels like a much better trade than the popularity, in all honesty. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and actually flip this around here. Only 1 person in Nerona. Holy moly, we gotta populate these locations here. One population is way too little. Let's move a slave over from somewhere. From Lusitanian, definitely. Wow, Lusitanian has a lot of people living there. I thought it was a lot less populated than this. Okay, how is it looking over here? We got 6 in Salonai, 4. Yeah, that's all fine. Honestly, Delengen probably needs 1 more person too. Let's move 1 over from Lusitanian and move a few over from Lusitanian here. Yeah, okay, so 2 and 1 from... Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Okay, just so that it's not on 1, because I'm nervous about depopulation. Okay, so that's done. Let's see here. Do we... I have to make a decision here about actually attacking Liburnia or not. One thing I can also do is move the capital over to Nerona now and also fortify it. I can't fortify it quite yet, but I will be able to fortify it soon. I can fortify it now if I... Oh, actually, no, I still can't. I will fortify it momentarily. Capital being in Lusitanian for now is fine. I don't think I need... Let me actually... Where does it target for the Dalmatian colony? Targets Trigorian at the moment. Probably because Trigorian's the provincial capital. Trigorian would be fine as a colony as well, because it will be a city someday, but I would like it to be Nerona for the reasons I said earlier. I think what I need to do is relocate the capital to Nerona, and then see if it moves it over on the next monthly tick. But until I have enough to fortify it... That being said, it's not going to be in danger until the war against Dalmatia, if it's not fortified. Let's move it over now and see what happens next month. I will fortify it once I have enough money to, so that should be fine. I think let's go for it. Let's hold off the war against Oxwayoia. There's no need to rush that. I don't think things are going to change that dramatically if we just go grab Liburnia. Liburnia is really diplomatically isolated right now. They have no friends at all. This is my chance to sneak in and opportunistically grab Edessa, and actually more of their territory too, if I'm able to. And I have my army up and ready right now, so honestly, I may as well. Let's head on over. Got some more stuff to sell. We'll sell to the Antigonids, sell them olives. All right. That will help pay for the fort in Nerona that I'll be getting hopefully soon. On we go. Still not going to get an admiral for this navy yet, because I don't need it for the early game, honestly. All right, how far away are we? 1st of December. All right. On the boats you go. That means all of you. I can fit them all on the boats, which is great. This, by the way, might be one of the smallest settlement locations here, Issa. It's so small. But, yeah, we'll leave Issa alone at the moment. They are fighting Liburnia, but I'm not sure what's going on here. They're not really actually going over there. They must have a fleet, right? I guess not. They only have 3 ships. Maybe they can't get over there? Not sure what's going on. I don't think there's any sieges happening over there, so we'll see. Autonomy. The industrious folks of Epidanos have excelled themselves, contributing their own personal funds to develop the infrastructure of their fine city. We hope this attitude can be mirrored by some of our less loyal subjects. So we could get a granary in Epidanos. Okay, this is actually kind of something I should look at here. Epidanos doesn't have any infrastructure development yet, just because of what I've been focusing on. Get a granary, get a library, which is looking a bit better than a granary. I like libraries for the research points. Pop conversion isn't super important, but the research points is super nice. And Epidemos will be a nice, lavish city in the future. Or Glaucius loses popularity and I get some money. The money would actually be nice because that is about 20 months of income at the moment, and that could let me build that fort, which I want to get going. Because I want it to be done before the war against Oxwayoia. I guess it probably wouldn't be done at this point, so maybe I shouldn't move the capital quite yet. I think I'll just take this, build the fort, and also see about moving over the establishing the colony. Nerona, there we go. Okay, so this is what I wanted to see. So we can now turn Nerona into a colony, and I think colonies you're allowed to turn into a capital later. Again, Nerona doesn't have to be my national capital. Like, that's not part of my main strategy, but it's something that I think would make a lot of sense. Another good alternative is actually Trigorian, would also make for a really good national capital for similar reasons. They're just more centrally located in Illyria, and that's something that I'm looking for, because Epidemos is a totally fine city location. It's just too far south for the region. And I don't, like, even though I'm on the, sort of, as I said in the first episode, I'm on the frontiers of Illyria, Macedonia, and Greece, my Illyria-centric strategy in the early game would benefit from having the capital and my core being further north in Illyria, maybe in this area, to be sure. So trying to convert these places to Taulantian culture and establishing infrastructure up there is important. Either way, let's go ahead and set up the Dalmatian colony in Nerona, which will give it some nice modifiers. Migration attraction +2 and pop assimilation speed +10%. It's going to have a big Taulantian presence, and will move Taulantian pops over there. I guess I didn't move the slave after all. This will upset the Dalmatians a bit, but that's fine. I'm trying to turn every Illyrian subculture into Taulantian, so that's the plan. Found colony in Nerona. All right. Okay, so Nerona, a Taulantian colony. The arrival of Taulantian settlers has hardly endeared the local population to us, but the foundation of a colony in this area is without a doubt the best way to exert control here in the long run. Soon, even the local Dalmatian inhabitants will see how our city will prosper and surpass any previous settlements they may have had in the area before the land was confiscated. So, move a ton of people over, totally fine. It's a good way, by the way, to sort of randomly move people. So, like, Albanopolis, for example, is super populated with Taulantians. Not super helpful up there in the hills, so we'll send them over to Nerona. Alright, so Nerona now has a population of 10. We can't switch it over to the full capital yet, because we need 80 influence, and the dominant culture in Nerona does have to be Taulantian. I believe it's not currently the dominant culture. Let's see what's going on here. It may actually be, and it just hasn't updated yet, because I do have many more Taulantians than I have Dalmatians over here. Maybe it means of the province? Not entirely sure, but either way, we'll eventually have the provincial dominant culture of Darcia be our people. And alternatively, the other question about which would be the capital is whether Dalmatia or Darcia is a better capital province. I think probably Darcia. It has more coastal land, and the coastal land is going to tend to be better land for me. It also does control Pekina, which, as I've said before, is a very strategically important location for the Illyria region, so Darcia does look pretty promising. Either way, I'll decide about that stuff later. Let's get into the boats and get on our way over to Liburnia, our unplanned conquest target here. Let's head on over. I think I'll just land in Adassa, honestly. I guess I could land anywhere along the coastline here. We'll see where their forces are when I do get over there. But I'm feeling pretty good about this little plan here. Let's move on over. Good stuff. War exhaustion and all that is looking totally fine. Okay, looks like Issa is working on their capital. I wonder if Issa is actually going back and forth from the siege the way that Epidaurus had been doing. But let's hang out in the boats and kind of see what's going on here. Even with my boats not being paid for, I'm not nervous about this force coming out and causing some sort of trouble for me. So we should be in the clear. Okay, yeah, they're doing that. So we'll time our war declaration when this force is leaving Ainona, probably the next cycle. So I don't know why the AI is doing this. I actually haven't seen the AI do this behavior much before. This episode, it seems to be happening quite a bit. Not sure what's going on. This game, you never know what's going on with the AI in this game. It's a truly mysterious entity. Right, they're gone. We're not ready yet. We need to wait until December. We'll just hang out in the boats. Actually, no, we're low on food, aren't we? That's not great. Okay, well, we'll we have a couple months. Let's come back to Tregorian and re-up on food, and then we'll sail back over when we're closer to December. Because we have, I think, 2 months before we need to make any attacks. So we'll come on over and eat all the food over here in Dalmatia. They'll just have to deal with it. And this being on that is perfectly fine. Honestly, I could probably switch this over to assimilation. In fact, I might do that now with my spare influence. I don't need to get another claim yet because I have my claim on Oxwayoya to reuse. Yeah, I think Dalmatia is ready to be switched. Alternatively, Dindaria, although Dindaria is just this, so Dalmatia is a much better place to switch over. This may end up not being good because I may need it to be on autonomy, local autonomy again for future conquests, but for now I can switch it and start turning the people of Salinite and Tregorian into Taulantian. So let's switch it over. Yep, looking fine there still. That's good to see. Yeah, that should be fine. All right, how are things going over here? Oh, yikes. Okay. Okay. Looking fine. How about you, Rome? Doing some stuff. Always good to see Rome doing stuff. You know how it is. Alright, so I think I will fully reset my Devotio invocation process. I didn't check to see during that war when I got some more exhaustion if the thing had reset, but I think it will reset. How are we looking food-wise? Still not in tip-top shape here. A little bit of attrition from food isn't a huge problem. What I could do, actually, hold on. How many forces do you have? Actually, I can't see how many forces you have. No, I can see how many forces you have, but they're right there. What I might do is actually get military access through Dalmatia. Yeah. And actually have the forces that have less food walk through Skardon and come fight these guys in Assyria, while the Levy of Illyria, who has most of their food, will actually do the naval assault. So let's do it like that. So let's have you come out here. Yeah, we'll do it like this, because I don't need all my forces on Iona at the same time. The other guys can arrive by land. This will just keep them from taking food attrition while they're at sea. They'll still take food attrition in enemy land when they're not in occupied land, but this seems like a safer way of doing it. So I'll approach it like that. You coming over, and we'll get ready here. 1st of December, we'll have our war goal, and basically the moment these guys move away, or once they're locked into moving away after the 1st of December, we'll launch our attack and repeat what we just did in the previous war. These guys still don't have any friends. Looking good. Alright, there they go. They're actually suffering attrition as well. So once they are locked in, we will do a landing, and in my experience from the previous campaign, naval landings are much faster than you'd expect. You can do some very quick naval landings in this game. So once they're locked in, we will declare war and get this going. All right, declare war. We're not going to call in Dardania again. I want them to recover their manpower and kind of just stay over there and be ready for my upcoming war that I keep putting off in little ways against Oxwayoya. So we're going to fight to take Liburnia. All right, so the Illyrian local power of Liburnia have all rallied together again. Another diplomatically isolated goober over here. We're going to arrive on the 17th of December. They're going to be gone before that. That's great. All of you, we know where the enemy is. They're in Assertia. Head on over. We got a little bit of food down, but we may also occupy Assertia and just kind of stand there. It is farmland, so we'll recover our food from that. So let's go ahead and keep this going. And once our guys land, I will probably send my classes away. I don't need the classes here necessarily. Fortress under siege. They are going to get to Odessa. That's fine. Follow. Oh no, we can't. We have to go here. Actually, I think I might keep these guys here because this navy won't leave. Actually, where is this navy at? I think it's in the city of Odessa is where this this port is. So they won't leave until Odessa is sieged down. We'll move our navy when Odessa does get sieged because it might get sieged by these guys. Although, hold on, they are heading for Ionin, so they may not do it like that. Okay. Either way, let's go to Assertia. We could actually get on the ships. Hold on. Where's the line? It's on this side. Yeah. I may move using the ships to get to Odessa. and get access to it, because these guys can't reach it without sieging down what's it called? Ainona. Let's do it like that. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so now for a sneaky maneuver here once these guys arrive. 25th of December. Bam! Naval attack on Edessa. This is the power of the naval game. This is why I keep saying how important it is to get your navy up and going. Yeah, so this guy is going to go back and forth on joining the siege here. The AI is just very inconsistent with this. Don't know what's going on, but I will take it. Happy with that. What's happening here? Oh yeah, this is my naval attack. Literally, I know what's happening here because I've ordered it myself. So we'll go on in to Edessa. Once we kill these guys and start the siege here, I'll move my navy away because I don't want their 3 ships to come damage a bunch of my ships because they're on low pay. Alright, so now that that's going on, navy is going to return to my closest port, which is technically Lissos, so that's fine. I need to build a port up here somewhere, but I don't have any cities yet to facilitate that. So this fight should be pretty free. I may take a couple hundred casualties. Yeah, 200, that's okay. This is a naval landing, to be fair, so that's to be expected. Now we'll siege down the unfortified city of Edessa, which is the decision land in question, to be clear. It is plains, so not a location I'll keep a city at, so I will probably sack the city if I'm allowed to. And in fact, we'll go ahead and wait and see what happens here once we get this this timer down. I know I'm into my overtime phase, where I have a few more minutes before I have to hard cut, but I just want to get the siege done before we end this episode here. Alright. You didn't end up sacking it, that's fine. You don't always get a sack. I guess non-provincial capital, or non-capital cities don't always have a sack associated, so that's fine. We've now captured Edessa, which is technically the only place we need from the peace deal, so I could probably... No, I can't because it's fortified, that's right. But either way, things are looking very good for our Liburnian War, a nice little unexpected war that we're sneaking in here in between the bigger wars against Oxwayoia and their friends, our new rivals here in Illyria, it seems. So things are looking very good despite this episode being a little inconclusive in terms of the Oxwayoian War. We got a very effective war against Pieria and the start of what looks to be another very quick and effective war against Liburnia, while our new mountain rivals over here, Dalmatia, Oxwayoia, and their friends, are staring us down. We have our truce with them ending within a few months, and we will be in position to fight them on our terms with a much better... Also, the other thing, too, is we'll have land now bordering them on this side as well, so this actually helps out a lot, all things considered. It'll distract them even more. So we are going to come back at them again very soon with a much better situation and pull off a much more successful second attempt at breaking into these mountain lands. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry I went over the hour-long time, but I am under an hour and 10 minutes, which is what really counts. And I think it was worth it to get this war with Liburnia started, and it does look like it's going to be a very straightforward, uncomplicated, and good war all around. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all next time.